Thank you for joining the A-Game Zoom meeting. Juan, start us off with your financial projections.
Oh, golly, Wally, what is that?
Wait, does he even know he's live?
Why are his pants so tight?
Oh, you just got the... Is he pop locking?
He does have moves. Go on.
Oh, the breakdance.
Ooh, I hope he doesn't split his tight pants.
Oh, go one. Go, eat the birthday. Go one, eat the birthday.
You better clap yourself back to work. In there dancing around like you crazy.
Okay, that was pretty good. Now that Juan has given us his unauthorized dance routine, does anyone else have a dance routine they want to do? Okay, well, let's get back to showing the world why A-Game is the #1 herbal solution in the world. However, I kind of want to know why his pants were so tight too. But let's get back to being on our A-Game.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. I'm sitting here about to enjoy the show like y'all. I hadn't turned the mic on or nothing. I'm about to enjoy the show with y'all. How y'all doing this Thursday? Y'all doing all right? Y'all doing good? We got an awesome show today. Ooh, let me straighten the belt. Because we have a lot to talk about today. Never let it be said that on the Crimson Cure channel, we don't have solutions as we talk about the issues that plague Black women. Okay? Black women are mediocre at best. See, now, a lot of people think that my channel is about bashing Black women or making Black women feel bad or making it only be about profitability due to Black female dysfunction. And it's not. My content is designed for a couple of things. Number one, to bring the issues to the forefront in a way that other people have not done. Okay? Can you all not hear me? Everybody's saying the sound is low. To make certain that we understand the issues in a deeper way, not just a surface way, not just talk about the problems in this real vague or superficial type of way. And it's important to delve into the problems, because if we don't delve into the problems, then we cannot solve any problems. If we don't understand the nature, where the problems come from, why the issues persist in the way that they do, then these issues, these various myriad of issues that we are experiencing as a group of women and as a people. Thank you, you can't see me. Thank you, Miss Gail. We got a myriad of issues, and if we don't deal with them properly, they will persist until we are extinct as a group, as a viable group of people. Will there be people melanated walking around? Yes, that's not what I mean. I don't mean physically extinct. I mean extinct as a community. We just won't be able to do anything. This is imperative that we understand the concepts, and we're going to go into them in depth today. If we don't understand the concept of why a value system is important. Important is actually an understatement. It is critical and vital to our survival or our demise. A value system is what we as a people had intact that allowed us to create and to thrive as a community in the face of nearly or seemingly insurmountable odds. How much further of a setback can a community be than after Reconstruction, which took place after the Civil War, and the Civil War took place after the slaves were set free, quote unquote, at least on paper. How much of a detriment and at a disadvantage can a group of people be than what our ancestors were, still being seen and treated as if they were inanimate objects, farm equipment that got away from the farm, farm animals, workhorses that somehow got out of the plantation gate. And we were able to build the Rosewoods. We were able to build the Black Wall Streets. We were able to have communities that were intact and that were thriving. See, people think that we were together because we didn't have a choice but to be together. That is only the surface, and it's not exactly the truth. Because while circumstances were different, the true difference wasn't the circumstance. The true difference was the value system. We had and were living by a set of values that kept us striving, not just merely surviving, and it kept us with our eyes, as we used to say, on the prize. How to get to a point of thriving. That was what we were going for. How to get to a point of excellence. The downfall of the Black community and the splitting of Black men and Black women wasn't just a result of the environmental change, where women were given a way to work and stuff like that, because Black women were working anyway. When we had nuclear families, Black women were working. We was working. Nana was working. Big Mama was out in the field too. Big Mama was sewing clothes too. Big Mama was cleaning clothes and washing floors and, housekeeping and things of that nature for Miss Ann. She was doing that. It wasn't a whole lot of times where she had the liberty or the freedom to not contribute financially to her household and be taken care of, only because of the way in which this system set things up for us. But she was still able to be feminine. She still stayed with her husband. She still was a positive member, contributing member of her family. So much so that that era of Big Mamas was the matriarch of her family, but she still operated under the patriarchy of Big Daddy. She was following Big Daddy's mission and his plan for his family. She had a value system. We had a value system. The advent of feminism, the gynocracy, and all of these other social changes came alongside the lost value system. That's where they got us. Not the working, not the mere job having or the mere money. But it was the value system that really cut the legs out from under us, because black women and black men are never going to get together underneath the lost value system. Now, and we're going to talk about that at another time. But I want to lay the groundwork as to why we're talking about black women being mediocre at best. And I'm being gracious because really as a group, we're subpar. We real under the average. We real below average. Because the thing about it, if you remember back at the live stream that I did, thank you, Ricky, said Big Mama ran the house, Daddy ran the family. Keep teaching them, sis. Thank you so much. See, the thing that we have to understand, when I did that live stream about our content, my content, the late Kevin Samuel's content sort of being lifted and repackaged. See, the thing about that is white women are going to absorb that. They're not gonna run around here and say they feel attacked. They're going to, for the most part, they're going to start coming into order. They're going to start coming into order. They're going to start utilizing the concepts, the problem solving of black men that black men are trying to give to they women to get black women back straight. White women are going to utilize that to get straight. They're going to. White women listen to this content. They listen to Kevin Samuels. This is where you got Just Pearly Things. Shout out to her. This is where you got the even Latinas, the Real Femme Sapien. This is where you getting these women from. Young Miss Celine that comes to this channel. Shout out to Miss Celine. She's a young Caucasian woman in her early 20s that is coming to these spaces to really absorb what she can get out of it that can benefit her as a woman going forward. Thank you, Too Tall. Said the lost value system would kick your butt. Yeah, it done kicked our butts. It done kicked us in the teeth with steel toe boots on. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong with these women. They're just listening. You can't fault them for listening. You can't fault them for coming to spaces where they can get benefit for themselves, take the information that they can use it, and then better themselves. It's my sisters that's hard-headed. It's my black sisters that's hard-headed that would rather argue about it than take the lesson, take the meat, leave the bones, if you must. My sisters is hard-headed. Y'all the ones don't want to hear about keeping in shape. Y'all the ones don't want to hear about getting your life together. And that's why you linger and you mire in mediocrity. That's why we still struggling where other groups are finding their footing, because they're realizing that they've been operating under the lost value system, aka the American nightmare, and that they need to get themselves together because their communities and their families are being destroyed right before their eyes. And it's in part because of their actions and their mindset and the way that they are approaching life and themselves and their men and their children. Thank you, Dee. Said, how can we convince the black men are not the problem? It's Rebecca May. It's black women that would rather have a fight about it. That's why we remain mediocre at best, subpar at best, below average at best. Because we're the ones that believe the conditioning that we've been hit with about us as women not having to take no accountability for anything, buying into the feminist agenda, buying into the gynocratic agenda, buying into becoming a group of women that have not been required to be anything other than the base female you were born. No requirement, no standard. We have knocked down every attempt of black men to hold black women accountable and hold us to a standard of something so that we can rise to meet that challenge. It's not meant to cut your head off. It's not meant to make you feel bad or stand on your neck. It's meant to present you with a requirement and a standard where you can say, I need to meet that. I need to rise to the occasion. Cream rises to the top. It don't stay at the bottom. That's where the saying comes from, creme de la creme, the cream of the cream. The best of the best. The best part of the cream always come to the top, not the bottom. Thank you, Mrs. S. Thank you so much, sweetheart. And we don't do that. This is why we got black women running around talking about they're the prize. We're conditioned that our mere existence alone is to be considered excellence. And that is the worst possible thing that we could be thinking about right now, that we can be having in our minds right now, because it prevents evolution. It prevents, because if you perfect, it ain't nothing to do. If you already perfect, there's nothing to improve upon. If you're already the best of the best of the best, then there's nothing left for you to do. And this is why we're running around here talking about we're queens and stuff like that. But you are not a queen if there is no king to make you so. You have no power on your own. Even when we think of Queen Elizabeth, she don't really wield no power. She don't even have the power to make a man a king. She was dealing with a man. He died, what, a year or two ago? And they called him the queen's consort or whatever. This is a man she never married that was basically sliding through, her lifelong companion. She didn't even have the power to make him a king. She don't really run nothing. They got a prime minister that does that, and he's a man. So we've been conditioned in this participation trophy type of thinking where I'm just here. So therefore, my presence alone should make a man respect me, honor me, pay for me, cater to me, and allow me to never strive for more or be better as a person. You got to take me as I am. You got to accept me as I am, which allows me to remain in a deplorable state of being. It allows me to be a bum. A lot of women, a lot of black women like to say that men are bums. Are there a subset of black men that are bums? Yes, they belong to the F-boy/F-19 crowd. These are the men that the women are raising, okay? But you're a bum too. A lot of you don't work. No steady job. You don't have a job history upon becoming an adult. Or you don't work these little penny ante jobs. You can't keep a job. You working at Family Dollar and Dollar General and all this kind of stuff. You might work there 4, 5 months, 6 months. You study in and out of a job. It's not gainful employment. You can't hardly make it on what you earn per hour. You don't have any particular skill set at all to earn more money. You don't. You have no ambition. You good with settling for Section 8. You're good with settling for whatever welfare give you and EBT give you and whatever the government hand out to you. You're good with sending your kids to your mama to raise while you run the street. You good with that. Like, you're good not doing nothing progressive. You stay with your mama or you staying on roommates and you're not even contributing anything positive to anybody's life, not even your own. Thank you, Audrey. Say hello, Kendra. Watching you change my mindset and becoming more feminine. Loving the woman I'm becoming. I'm glad I found your show. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Audrey. And I'm so glad that my content has helped you. Y'all are running around you're being a liability everywhere. Everywhere, not just to a man, but you being a liability everywhere. You a liability on your kids. And this is the part that don't nobody want to talk about. You're a liability on your own children. They may make it in life in spite of you, not because of you, not because their mother put something in them or gave them the tools to make it further in life. You took the tools away. So because you settle for everything and y'all got the audacity to sit somewhere online talking about you ain't gonna settle for a man that do this and do that, but you settle for the poverty mindset of your own self. You settle for the bare minimum all around you. You are the bare minimum. Your kids gotta settle for a bare minimum mama. So you didn't look for, thank you, Ed Welch said, please keep speaking to him for now. I'm tired. You send them to subpar schools because you live in subpar areas, poverty-stricken areas, and you good with that. So your kids don't get the best possible education that they can. They don't, you more worried about whether or not they got Jordans and whether or not, you know what I'm saying, and whether or not they got the new PS5 and all of that. And you're not worried about what kind of value system you've shown them. You're not worried about that. You're not worried about the setback of your children. Your children are in a constant state of when they get grown, they got to battle all of the obstacles you put in their way, all the trauma, all of the wrong teaching. They got to unlearn life as you taught it to them, to relearn life, to try to be better people. And who knows when they're able to even come to that realization that they've been taught wrong. And that's only after they've gotten into the world and got lost value system outcomes and are unhappy with it and then realize that my mama taught me that. Thank you. You can't see me again, so I had to make myself valuable. Now I'm looking for a wife. She's nowhere to be found. Thank you so much. So they got to unlearn life. If you're asking yourself, why is it that a lot of black women wait until she get older to try to figure life out? That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons. I couldn't even reach my full potential, me personally, because I had to spend a good 15 years or more unlearning, unpacking the foolishness, unpacking the trauma, trying to figure out what the truth from the lie. All y'all sit around and you don't do nothing with yourself. You don't got no ambition. You lay up all day having sex, having babies, smoking, drinking, gossiping, starting trouble, and being trouble. That's all y'all do. Run around the neighborhood causing trouble, being a menace to society. Blaming everybody else, getting mad at everybody else for your mistakes, for your inability to take accountability for things that you do. Too many of you are mothers and you have no structure as a mom because you didn't value family and you were not intentional. Thank you, Red Stick. And you were not intentional with how you had babies, who you had babies by, and all of this other stuff. Now you don't have any fathers around, or you didn't want the father around you and your kids. So now you got a house full of kids with no structure. Too many of y'all I done watch get on these panels. Y'all done got on these shows. You got on Kevin Samuel's show. You done got on Kendra G's show. You done got on various panels all around and all on platforms. It be 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and your kids is still up. And you on the internet arguing with men about being a feminist. And what the men aren't doing. Meanwhile, in the background, we hear your babies running amok, and it's 9, 10 o'clock p.m. They ought to be in the bed. They sound young enough to have coloring books, and you don't even got a good structure enough for a kid. You can't even set the life of a toddler. That's because there ain't no men in the house to provide the structure to say, hey, these kids cannot be up at all hours of the night. Get a bedtime schedule. They all up in your face as you having grown folk conversations. They just don't want to go to bed. What, they all are 4 years old. They don't run nothing. They just got out of diapers a little while ago. Why don't they have a set bedtime? Why don't you have a set schedule for children? Dinner is no later than such and such time. Homework or whatever kind of teaching. If they too little to go to school right now, you got a 4 or 5 year old. They usually start, kindergarten and stuff like that about 5. Before your kids go to kindergarten, they need to know colors. They need to know 1 through 10 counting. Don't be thinking them kids too little to know that stuff. No, they not. They sponges. If you sit down and teach it to them, they'll know it. Thank you, dear Philip J. Said, watching your evolution from over a year ago to now is amazing. A dose of truth is the best medicine. Take no prisoners. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. No structure in the house at all. Talking about you strong and independent, don't need no man. Yes, you do. You're not intentional in your life. I know I'm a little bit past the break point, but I want to, you know what? Let me take the break, and then we'll come in and talk about your lack of intention in your life. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey y'all, Donnie Keith here, aka Auntie Peaches from the Aunties Radio Show, also on The Voice of Reason. I'm here to say that ever since my man started taking A game, he's been on top of his A game. What? When I say A game, I mean his A game. He's more focused. He's definitely working out more. His attitude is better. And he's not complaining of all over body aches due to poor blood circulation, because A-Game provides great blood circulation, if you know what I mean, ladies. That blood circulation. Sometimes I have to hide the A-Game in the bushes when I'm out walking the dog just because I want some sleep. If you know what I mean, ladies. Stay on top of your A-Game, fellas. Get your A-Game.
Auntie Peaches said that blood circulation. Speaking of blood circulation, today's show is being brought to you by A-Game. 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 Okay. We are on our A-Game today, right? A-Game is the #1 herbal solution for men's overall health. Okay? It helps him with his vitality, his energy, his strength, and his libido. So in all 4 of these areas, men are being helped and supported in their health and in their blood circulation in their bodies so that they can improve in these areas and improve in life, period. This is a vital time for us to really be looking at the health of our brothers, our fathers, our husbands, our sons, because all of this stuff is going around. The whole mpox thing is happening, and they're targeting it towards us. This helps as an immune booster as well. So we really, really need to pay attention to the overall health of the men in our lives, because they need their own health and we need them as well. So brothers, please don't disregard your health. I know how men are, I don't need it, I'm good, I'm just gonna push through, I'm just gonna push forward. And that's admirable, but you need some help if you're gonna be pushing forward, right? And A game is just the thing to help you get that extra push that you need, right? So in order to become part of the A game family, all that you have to do, we made it super simple. Just click the link at the top of the chat, agameherbal.com. Please don't forget your 10% discount using the code Kendra10 and get this box of awesomeness delivered to you ASAP. You will not regret it, all right? Okay, that's awesome. So now we're going to talk about how Black women are not intentional in their lives. This serves for the below averageness. You go through life letting it happen to you as if you don't have any say or control or influence over your own choices. This is the essence of the lack of accountability. Thank you, Red Sticks. I know I might not catch every live like I want to, but I will catch up on every missed video. Thank you for the daily medicinal inspiration. Thank you so much, Red Stick. Y'all go through life like passengers, okay, on a ride, where you can't control when you get off, when you get on, what's happening during the ride. This is how you're able to shift blame and shift responsibility and shift accountability for your choices onto other people, namely men. So all your bad choices is because somebody else, mainly a man, was doing something to you, or he wasn't doing enough for you, or it was something going on. Which brings me to something. I was watching a playback of Thon Lexi's show today. Shout out to Thon at Blacklight Podcast. And one of the things that was said, because he was reviewing a guest on a Kendra G show. And one of the things that was being said was that this was an overweight lady and she was losing the weight. And she was saying that she know that this was why she wasn't getting the types of men that she wanted. Hey, Miss Celine, so it's a carpe diem way of life modern women have. They do. And she said, I want to do it for the man, but I also want to do it for myself. And Thon was like, well, what's so wrong with doing it for a man? And I'd like to address that because this sort of comes into play with how women like to blame men for stuff. And I'd like to offer my answer to that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being motivated by a man, your man, or the prospect of putting yourself in a position to get and attract better men. There's nothing wrong with that being the motivation for you to do better and to get better and to get your life together. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay? If you have a man or you want to get yourself in a position to be chosen by a better grade of men, then by all means, please use that as your motivation. There's nothing wrong with that being your motivation. However, I also encourage women to make sure that they are doing it for them. And this is why. This is what's going to lead us into how to not be mediocre at best. Because if she doesn't recognize that she has to do this for her own benefit, this will leave open a way to blame a man for not getting it accomplished. Okay? Well, he didn't encourage me enough. He didn't love me enough. He didn't positively reinforce me enough. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He didn't provide a way for me to get back and forth to the gym, or he didn't provide the type of food and nutrition that I needed to get my health together. See, no, we're not gonna, the time for blaming men for your own shortcomings, your own lack of ambition, your own bad choices, that's done. Lionesses do not do that. Lionesses take responsibility. And the first thing that we do is in taking that responsibility for ourselves, we become intentional in life. Yes, my man is the motivation for me to get my health together or keep it together. But if I don't love me enough to make sure that it's together, I can't love him enough to make sure it's together. I hope that's understood. I hope I'm making sense to everybody. I hope I'm making sense to everybody. See, the lioness takes the 10 life values to heart. It's not just words on a screen. It's not just words on a screen. We are responsible for our spiritual edification. We are responsible for being a better person. Because let's just break it right on down, and I'm going to go there. For those of us who believe in the Most High, when we stand before God, He not going to ask you what your man did or did not do. He going to ask you about what you did. And you're not going to be able under any circumstance to deflect to the shortcomings or whatever of your man. And what my husband did, ain't nobody asked you about your husband. God asked you about what you were doing, because you're responsible for your soul, your spiritual grounding, you. Because let me tell you something I learned from experience. The man you married, and you can have the most solid marriage relationship ever, that man gonna leave. Even if he don't leave through divorce, they gonna wheel him out if you don't die first. They gonna wheel him out of there. And you have to still watch your soul. You still gotta be a good person. You still gotta have your spirituality intact. You still gotta do that. Now, he may have been an awesome support for it, but you still got to do it in his absence. You still got to do it in his absence. Hey, Black Ram. You got to do that. You got to make sure that you are spiritually intact after him. I had to learn that the hard way. Oh man, he gone, but I'm still here. Grief or no grief, God's still looking at me and what I'm going to do. You're responsible for your health. I'm responsible for eating the proper food, for exercising. Your husband is not your warden. He ain't the CO. He ain't there to just watch you make it. What are you, two? When he's not around, you can't be sneaking zoom zooms and wham whams just because he ain't looking. Talking about, I don't know why I gained them 30 extra pounds. Yes, you do. Because in front of him, you eating salad and, you know what I'm saying, drinking, you know, health smoothies and all that kind of stuff. But when he go to work, you got a secret stash, you know what I'm saying, of little Debbie's cookies. You're responsible. The 10 life values is for every situation in life. It is here to help you as a woman, no matter where you are in your life. No matter where you are in your life. No matter what position you're in your life. We're going to name some key things, because every time or in every instance of life-changing event, the 10 life values is there to help you assess where you are, who you are, and what you need to do to go from subpar and below average to excellence. And your mere existence is not excellence. Let me just tell you that. Before I read off what I got for you, we got 389 awesome likes, and we need the next 300 or so people to give us some likes. So bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to Okay? Hey. And thank you so much for everybody's support. So just to throw out some scenarios that we find ourselves in. Getting married. In Black women's cases, you want to get married, or at least you say you do. But there are things and steps that you need to cover before you can put yourself in the category of a wife so a man can choose you to be his wife. If you are intending on getting married, then the 10 life values is something that you need to take into serious consideration. Depending on which part of your life you don't got together or you do, but let's start from the first. Your spiritual value. What kind of person are you? Are you this super selfish, super self-centered, super, you know what I'm saying, conceited, arrogant person that can't be bothered to share their life with nobody? That can't be bothered to deal with other people in a good way, in a way that pleases the Most High? Are you this type of person? Are you the type of person that can't nobody stand you and you can't stand nobody? What about your health? Look at your health. This is why we talk about women who are overweight. It's not just the aesthetic. But what does that say about your lack of discipline? Because if you can't control the food that go in and out of your body and the exercise that you aren't doing, then you aren't going to be a good asset to any man's life. You're going to have health problems. It's a liability already. Because when you get a little older, you're going to have diabetes, or you're going to have heart problems, or this plays out into reproductive issues. Your hormones out of balance, unable to carry children, or, you know what I'm saying, you have a lot of defects in this area. Are you even family oriented? We hear a lot of women talking about, oh, well, you know, I want a man that's fine, that's family oriented. But are you family oriented? It's too many of y'all running around that's already got kids talking about, I want to get married, but I don't want no more kids. You already got 2 or 3 kids. You want a man You're only about 30, 32, 34, whatever, and you want a man to come into your life, take over, give you his 4 P's, give you provision, give you problem solving, give you protection, give you procreation, and you like, I don't want no more kids. So you're not even gonna let him secure legacy with you, but he gotta come in and take care of you and children that you got before him. This is a bad deal. This is a bad deal all the way around. All the way around. Thank you, Brandon Tillman. This is a completely bad deal. He don't want to do that. No man worth his salt want to do that. So you don't have yourself together, but this is how you get yourself together. You have to start looking at your life through this lens. This is the practical way to get yourself together. This is not just words. This is not just a vague thing. Well, get your life together, but no criteria and no way in which to do that. It's not enough just to say get your life together, but the 10 life values tells you in what you should be looking at to get your life together. What is your appearance value? This is why we talk about what your social media footprint, your digital footprint has to say about you. You got a lot of booty pics. You got a lot of, thirst trapping pics. And, you got a lot of messy posts. You always in some drama online. You always doing something else. Got something else going. Not minding your business. All in everybody else's video dancing. You got to take a look at that. You have to take a look at these things. You are not in position to be married. And you have to look at that objectively. You have to look at that practically. Nobody's saying it just to be mean. This is about solutions here. We're talking about utilizing a system that is made to get your mind wrapped around 10 dominant areas in your life. Everything that we do in life fall underneath one or more of those 10 categories. Period, point blank. This is why it's so effective as a system for excellence. Because this is what we're looking towards, or what we should be looking towards. Some of you are getting out of jail. We talk about male incarceration, but we don't talk about black female incarceration. Some of y'all are petty thieves and criminals, this, that, and the third, and you're in and out of juvie homes and jails. You got drug possession, you got solicitation charges, you got battery charges, you got all kind of charges. You got to get your life together. If you fresh out of jail and you're thinking, I don't want to go back to it, but then there are certain steps that you have to do in order to ensure that you don't get back into the lost value system that's going to put you back behind those bars. The lady, and I'm not even going to call her a lady, the chick that just killed them people in LA because she wanted to fly down the street at 90 miles per hour, crash into 2 or 3 cars. It's a whole fireball, killed like 6 people, including babies, wiped out a whole family. Now she got to sit in court, sitting somewhere crying, and you best believe she not crying because she remorseful. She crying because she has to now face consequences. That's why she's sitting up crying. She was in a Benz, so she walked away from the accident. Do you understand what I'm saying? Shout out to Mercedes-Benz in a well-made car, because she was going more than 90 miles per hour. Not under no influence of no drugs and alcohol. She was, quote unquote, in her right mind. She had 13 other car accidents on her record. This was just a reckless individual that had not faced consequences stiff enough to teach her no lesson about it, and had the audacity to be a nurse. somewhere trying to take care of somebody, but you are a reckless driver. You almost running around here using your car as a weapon, and basically you ended up doing just that. Use your car as like a guided missile. Thank you, T-Bird. So the black women born in the 80s that actually are married and have their life together are going to be the last grandmas. They are. 13 whole accidents. Now she want to sit somewhere and cry. You proud of yourself? You done killed some people now, ma'am. It ain't just a fender bender. It ain't just some property damage. You going to jail now because now that they haven't found anything in your system, it can go from vehicular manslaughter to at minimum second-degree murder. Might even be able to get you on first because you can't tell me you wasn't premeditated. Wasn't nothing wrong with that car. You wasn't speeding out of control and it was a mechanical failure and you couldn't slow down. You purposely was on the street going 90 miles an hour. So if you're getting yourself out of jail and you need to get your life together, again, you need to be focused on appearance. You need to be focused on your mobility. You need to be always focused on number one, because there was a spiritual deficiency in you that's got you in a position of going in and out of jail. It's something going on. Because no person with a solid spiritual base is finding themselves in situations where they're committing crimes, getting caught up with the wrong people, getting caught up, you know what I'm saying? Just getting caught up in general where these people can come get you and lock you up. So you need to first and foremost get your spiritual house together. And the 10 life values is not here to tell you what to worship, right? But you do need a spiritual system. You need a code of ethics to live by, because too many of y'all don't even have a moral code or code of ethics at all. At all, which allows you to do anything to anybody. Going to college. Y'all like to say, you know, we the most educated, you going to college. Fine, beautiful. You can't just say, oh, well, good luck in college. No, this again, 10 life values comes into play. The focusing on your education at this point. If you're going to college, that means that the focal point now at this point in your life has become your education. But the education has to be able to serve not only you, but everyone else in your family and in your community as well. You have to get that education with the mindset that your profession is going to be worthy. Thank you, Miss Celine. So I've heard women use scripture to justify bad behavior. Of course. So your profession has to be something that's going to be, first of all, positive. Second of all, beneficial. Not just so you can say, I got a PhD or whatever, but you have to be able to do something with that education that's going to move you forward, not only in your leisure and wealth, but move your community forward, move your family forward. Somebody got to be benefited by this in a positive way. So don't go to college trying to have a hot girl summer and a hot girl college career. And while you're there, be looking for your family. Be looking for your husband while you're getting your education. No need for one to cancel the other. You can be looking for your husband. Men like smart women. Men like intelligent women. They don't like dumbbells that are liabilities to them. Don't nobody like no Dumbo. You running around here just silly. Don't no man want that. Because you can't benefit him. because you can't help him build. You can't help yourself. Single motherhood. If you've already gotten yourself into that pitfall. Thank you again, Miss Celine. And my cousin met his wife in college. They are teachers. If you've already fallen into the pitfall of single motherhood, all may not need to be lost. And it shouldn't be lost, because now you need the 10 life values, not only to get yourself together, but now you have the responsibility as a mother to children to give them a proper value system. See, it is not just you anymore. It's not just you anymore. You have to give your children a proper value system. You're going to have to give them and inculcate within them proper spiritual base. You're going to have to give them proper health. Stop feeding them all this stuff, and then your children are obese as children. Letting the TV raise them, letting the Xboxes raise them, letting PS5s raise them, letting rap music raise them, letting the internet raise them. Because all they're going to learn from that stuff is the lost value system. That's all they're going to learn. You have to be the one to inculcate a true and positive value system to them. So you need the 10 life values in this instance in a practical way. Sit down and talk to them about spirituality. But before you can pass it on, you have to be doing it. You have to do it. It has to be within you. You can't give nobody something that you don't have. And we're going to go a few minutes over because I got to get through this. This is critical. You have to demonstrate health. Thank you, 39 Dina. You have to demonstrate health by you having an active, healthy lifestyle. You can't be cooking yourself, carb-free meals and, healthy whole foods, but you give your kids this garbage, this sugary garbage. That's for the whole household. Just like you had that chick arguing about McDonald's and why you ain't give my other kids McDonald's. Your kids shouldn't be even eating McDonald's every day. Why do he feel the need to go and get fast food to come bring to the kids? Because he know you're not cooking. He knows that if he don't do that, his kids may not eat at all. Thank you, Be About Peace and Pleasure. Said one thing we miss in our conversations is the use of drugs and alcohol for both men and women, past, present, and future. Exactly. This could fall under health. You can't be sitting around smoking blunts, and all of this drinking and all of this stuff all the time. Or really at no time, I would recommend. Because your kids see this. That kids do what you do, not as you say. So you sitting around always getting lit and all of this foolishness. Your kids see that. And they likely 9 times out of 10 going to follow in them footsteps, no matter if you say, oh, well, don't do this. No, they see you doing it. Getting out of your parents' house. There comes a time when you leave your parents' house. Whether your mother and father gave you the tools necessary to really succeed on your own, or they were a detriment to you, you need the 10 life values. It is up to you. If you have any trauma, this falls under spiritual. You need to heal it and get over it. It might not have been your fault, but it's gonna be your problem. It may not have been your fault, but it's certainly your problem. And when you become an adult, you're responsible for the handling of the damage. It's unfair, but that's life. You're responsible for your own everything. Your health, your family appearance, dwelling. You have to be able to get yourself a place to stay. You have to be able This goes into a woman's external. Her ability to accumulate and acquire mobility in her life. Again, doing something with their education. A lot of y'all are running around here, don't even got your GED. You dropped out of high school, and all of this type of stuff. You got to get that together. I know that something may have happened and your life might have been traumatic or whatever, and you couldn't go to school or you didn't want to go to school or whatever, but that's not going to fly as an adult. And trying to look for a man to come save you without giving him anything of your femininity and not having yourself together. He just got to save you from the rooter to the tutor. That's not a deal. That's not a deal. God bless the child that's got his own. You have to be doing work. Recovering from a divorce. This one, y'all really need to examine yourself as women, because y'all are filing for these divorces and you usually doing it for some frivolous reason or money. This speaks to your selfishness. But if you happen to be one of these women that got a divorce, but it wasn't like that, it didn't fall in that category, you have to recover. There's a healing process that you need to do. You need to figure out why that marriage didn't work. And you need to take your share of that accountability. You need to not only talk about why his shortcomings caused the demise of the marriage, but what part you played in that, because you have a part in it. Crying the victim card, that doesn't work. You have a part in this, and it's not a small part. You got at least 50% of it. You got your part. You contributed to the demise of that marriage, and it would behoove you to take a look at yourself. Which part of this was not up to par? Was it your spiritual self? Was it your health? Was it your lack of regard for family? Was it your appearance value? Was it the dwelling being too chaotic, too negative? Having a demonic spirit? Do you have a vengeful spirit? Do you have a Jezebel spirit? You see what I'm saying? You got to look at which part of this were you lacking in? Because that's likely the part that got you divorced. That's likely the culprit. Let's talk about having a child, becoming a mom. Let's suppose you're not a statistic where you just had a baby and it wasn't nothing thought about and you just had it. Okay, let's say you're not in that statistic. You're intent upon being a mother. What you gonna teach your children? What you gonna teach your children? Because you're the first teacher of that child. That child spends 9 months in your womb, absorbing everything that you give it physically, and it is absorbing your energy. What are you giving your children? What do you intend to give your children? Which value system do you intend to inculcate in them? That all depends on which one you're living. Practically speaking, if you didn't have good example of motherhood, you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to get up underneath people who are good moms, and not good mama because they say they good mothers, but good mothers because the children's behavior and the outcome of the children demonstrated and manifested that they were good mothers. How did she handle the children? How did she handle the household? What did her children learn from her? What did they pick up verbally and non? What were some of her mistakes that she made with her children? What were some of the triumphs? Take that. Take these things. Understand what your husband is saying, how he want his household to be ran, and what kind of culture he trying to pass on to his children. And then you have to embody that in order to give it to them. Mentoring children. See, a lot of y'all are, y'all are in positions, you teachers and you this and you that, but you got a gynocratic lost value system mindset. You just perpetuating garbage to unsuspecting children who are looking up to you and looking to you for guidance that they're not going to get. You're going to lead them into the same pitfall and the same hole that you were in. So you're going to need the value system to answer their questions and to assess their situation and give them advices and guidance accordingly. Not just shooting from the hip. Because your experiences aren't always even valid. What about moving to a new location? A lot of y'all, quote unquote, black women like to travel. But do y'all even know what that means? Do y'all even know what that entails? You like to travel all over. You want to go this place and that place. But you have to understand what's happening in them places. If you are uprooting yourself or you and your family going from one environment that you might be used to another environment that you're not used to, you have to learn and you have to carry yourself with a value system so that you can look at things like mobility. Thank you, Marcus. When you are moving, mobility comes to the forefront because what you're looking at, what mobility really means is the physical manifestation of the 10 life values. Thank you. Did I say thank you to Marcus? Said toxic girls come from toxic mamas. Up next is the next generation. So when I say mobility is the physical manifestation of the 10 life values, you have to look for, is there a church or a masjid where I'm going to move to? If you a Muslim, am I moving to a Muslim community? Are there people around where I can practice my deen with? If you are a Christian, is there a church home that you can go to? That you can begin to take your children to? Health. Am I moving to a food desert where there are no viable, good grocery stores and things of that nature? There's no gym around. When I move my kids there, are there parks there where I can take my children to, where we can exercise, where we can get outside and things of that nature? Or am I moving to a place where I dare not bring my children anywhere? Thank you, Paul the Baptist. What about family? Am I moving to a place that is family friendly? A place where we can really get into the activities as a family to the new place that I'm moving to? We got to think about this kind of stuff. What about appearance? Am I moving to, what's going to happen when I get to these places? Are there clothing stores appropriate? Are there hair salons appropriate? Or any of them things that I need to keep myself and my family appearances up? The dwelling, where am I actually moving to? What is this place? Is it an apartment? Is it a house? Is it, subsidized housing? What is this? Are we moving to a place where, I'm scared they're going to shoot, or there's, crap and, people urinating in the hall and all this noisy, or it's too much crowd? Or am I moving to a nice, safe, secure place? What about finding yourself in between jobs? A lot of y'all, especially since C19, find yourself in between jobs. In that case, profession moves to the top. Because now you have to figure out where you're going to get this money. Your education plays into that, and your mobility plays into your ability to acquire some form of gainful employment or to become an entrepreneur. Because now you have to focus. If you're in between jobs, you can't focus on leisure. You understand what I mean? If you're in between jobs, you can't focus on leisure. If you're in between jobs, you can't focus on this other stuff. Profession moves to the top. So the practicality and the flexibility of the 10 life value system is that based on the need that you have at whatever point in life you're at, that value comes to the forefront. And you need to focus on it. And tied into that is homelessness. Put a 1 in the chat if you've noticed a lot of Black women getting on social media talking about how they live in their cars. Because it's a lot. I see a lot of vlog channels now where the women are women. They're not old. They're in their 20s. They're in their 30s. They live in, California, some of them in New York, places where it's very expensive to live. Some of them in Chicago. And they got a little car and they live in it. They might do Uber in it, or Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that. They try to use the car to make some type of income, but they don't have enough to actually support themselves. Atlanta's one. And this isn't because they chose to live off grid and all of that. They were forced into that situation. What do they need to focus on? How is the 10 life values going to help them out of this situation? They have to focus on profession. They have to focus on it. They have to utilize their mobility to acquire things, to acquire the tools. If you didn't concentrate on proper education, if you got a basket weaving degree when you had an opportunity to go to school, and then you find yourself in a situation of homelessness, that degree doesn't help you. So your education was nothing. It don't even factor in. And then now, if you're homeless living in your car, you may not have the means to now pursue an education. You got to come right into profession. You can't be worried about what's going on Love and Hip Hop. You can't be worried about turning up. because stuff is starting to suffer. You might be able to crash on a friend's couch a little bit here and there, but so your dwelling is subpar. And that is just a few examples of how we as Black women can go from below average and just scraping by to excellence. We need the 10 life values as the base and the structure and the criteria for how we think about our lives to let us know what part of our lives need immediate attention. Does that make sense to everybody? Did that make sense to everybody? Did that make sense to the ladies? I want to hear y'all in the chat, and I want to hear y'all in the comment section, the women that I know cloud watch. Some of you are watching and you're not really rocking with, haven't been really rocking with the Crimson Cure, and that's fine. That's okay. I still want to hear whether or not this breakdown made sense to you and whether or not you can and are going to begin utilizing these tools to take an assessment of your life and then begin to do the work to repair it. This is about the solutions. I am not just up here talking for my health. The 10 life values is not a buzzword phrase that we just saying. That it is practical. It is something to do, actually. Something to work on, something to work towards. Because we live an aimless life most of the time. Just a ship in the night. You're going to run into an iceberg, you're going to be the next Titanic. Titanic got in trouble because nobody was listening. Nobody observed the chain of command properly. Nobody was listening. Everybody was in a team doing your own thing. Thank you, Brandon. So that's why our sons and babies died of gang violence living in hoods, because it's good and affordable for them, not the kids. The chain of command was breaking down. Folks was, doing what they wanted to do. Not passing on messages when they should have, and all of that, you on your own program. And they hit that iceberg. You going 90 miles per hour in the water. Now I know they measure them in knots. But you going 50 knots. That's fast for a boat. You imagine a big ocean liner like that moving at speedboat speed? Why you in the water that fast in the northern Atlantic with a bunch of icebergs and you ain't even thought to slow down and maybe, chill for the night? It was a lot of ships that set anchor down. We ain't going nowhere till we can see. And the ship got sunk and a bunch of people lost their life. All because not listening. It's unsinkable. Right. Okay. God was like, it's unsinkable? Bet. See, you don't want Allah to be like, bet. You don't want that smoke. It'll hold up to 4 compartments flooded. What about 5? And black women think they unsinkable. Y'all think y'all invincible. No consequences, ain't nothing ever gonna happen to you. You're gonna sink. You're gonna hit an iceberg. You're gonna be at the bottom of the ocean, and everybody gonna just commemorate you every once in a while. But you gone. You out of there. You extinct. Thank you, Black Thoughts. Say AKA learn to navigate the water. Anyway, I'd like to draw everybody's attention to Black Lives Matter as an organization. We have a petition against them and to hold them accountable for the more than $90 million theft that they have of the donated funds that they received throughout 2020 and beyond. It was supposed to go for the victims' families of police violence. It was supposed to go to the black community to uplift and empower the black community, all of them. Instead, they changed the mission statement to favor the LGBT and, you know, all of these subsets, but not, and to actively exclude heterosexual black men from the mission statement. This is an egregious bait and switch. So we are holding them accountable through the petition. And the way in which that works is when we sign the petition, that actually gives it the traction and the legs so that it can't be ignored, so that they actually have to pay attention to what we're saying. So I would implore everyone to click on the link, sign the petition if you haven't. Even if you have, please do me a favor and share it on your social media. Also, you are able to contribute to it if you can as well. I'd like to thank everyone for their contribution through Super Chat, through Cash App, and through PayPal. I definitely appreciate it. And I also want to thank my support team, without which we cannot give you this much needed content. So I want to thank everyone. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.